here from createyourfuture.co. So today we have Ani joining us. Hi, Ani.
Hi.
Guys, we have an exciting video. And this video, we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how you can get him to start initiating with you. So welcome, Ani.
Yes, thank you for having me. And this question comes up a lot with my clients. And I used to even question myself, like way back when I was just learning Everyone's You pushed out, about who should initiate conversations, who should take action, how much should you do it. Worrying about who takes initiative or who takes action or who calls who first, that right there is a block.
Yeah.
Living in the end of a committed, loving, faithful relationship, you wouldn't be worrying about keeping tabs on, oh, he called me once today, now I should return the favor, or he called me 3 times this week, maybe I should do it now too, right? Like in a committed relationship, you don't think that way. Everything's fine, everything's neutral, we love each other, who cares who calls who first, right? So that's the attitude I tell my clients to have when they're manifesting SP.
Exactly. So incredibly important. You know, I remember when I created many relationships, and I remember most currently with Andrew is every morning I would text him, and I wanted him to text me and to initiate. And at first he wasn't. So then I was upset. I was like, oh, I don't think he's that interested in me. But then I knew better. I was like, no, he is interested in me. He's just a little bit nervous. It's fine. So every morning I texted him good morning. And I said, I'm texting him first because I beat him to it. He was going to text me first, but I got to it first. And every day I kept saying that. And then every day he would text me back good morning, and he was like, have a great day. And I'd be like, oh, and I'd look at it. And then eventually what I started doing was focusing on what I wanted him to say, which was good morning, have a great day. And then one day I forgot to text him, and then he texted me. The next day I forgot, he texted me. So it just started naturally happening. So every time I texted him in the morning, I was like, isn't it great that he always messages me back? Isn't it wonderful that he always messages me first? And eventually he did. And I would say things in my head like, well, he would have messaged me first. He was just busy working. And then he would actually say in his messages, good morning, I was going to text you earlier, but I was totally busy. And I'd be like, oh, okay. So then that made me not feel so much that he was rejecting me. Because remember, at first, I made that fact that he wasn't messaging me mean that he wasn't that interested because we just first started dating. But then as soon as I went, no, it doesn't mean that. He's just busy. And he would have done it first, but he was just busy. And then he started reflecting that back to me because he's being pushed out. And then that was enough for me to start to, to lose that resentment and that rejection. Because that's the most important part here, right? Is to not feel like you are that they're not initiating, to lose that sort of feeling, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I used to do that with my SP too. Like I used to think like, okay, I'm gonna call him and he's gonna tell me, are you psychic? Like I was just thinking about you and you call, and he would say it every single time. How do you know I'm thinking about you? And in my head I'm like, because you're me pushed out, hello. But and then it happened so where like I would intend like, you're gonna call me and I'm gonna tell you that. How do you know I'm thinking about you? We're so aligned, we're so in sync, it's almost as if you could read my mind. Like, and it kept happening all the time until that feeling of, oh, I do it first all the time, or he does it first all the time, it disappears. Because I think it also has to do with society too. Like we've grown up, or I've grown up hearing all the time, like a girl needs to play hard to get, or a girl should be pursued. She should never pursue a man. I've heard that a lot, like from women, or, you're worthy, you're high value. Don't devalue yourself by chasing a man. I've heard that so much, and it became a belief in me.
Right.
And
yeah, the other one is that, oh, you know what, like they have to message you. If they don't message you, then they're not that into you. All these things are meaning that we've given actions, but we create the meaning. So are these meanings true? No, they don't have to be. They could be that they're just shy, or they were just busy and didn't get to it first, right? I mean, just imagine, okay, if you were like nervous and you liked this person and they were like, oh, I thought you didn't like me because you never messaged me. You'd be like, oh my goodness, no, I was just really nervous. I didn't know if you wanted to, you know, like, let's look at it that way. Like, aren't these people allowed to be nervous too? You know? A huge part of it there. The other thing, though, to actually start making this something in your reality, which, you know, we always suggest, is doing a mantra. So if you really want the, you know, the communication to be initiated by them, then start making that a mantra, that my specific person always texts me first because I'm good enough. You know, they always text me first because they want to talk to me because I'm good enough. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is change the meaning of why they're not texting you first. First of all, don't make it a rejection story, meaning they're not into me, or, you know what, they're just not, you know, they're not chasing me, you know, and remove that story and create another story that doesn't make you feel rejected, right? And then start using the mantra every time you text them. Say, no, they always text me first. And then you'll find that all of a sudden they'll start ending up doing it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is, even though we're always saying everyone is you pushed out, and like, I used to be like this too. Like, I used to hear, okay, everyone's you pushed out. I used to do my research. I used to put it to practice. Yeah, everyone's you pushed out. Do you know how easy I would tap out of that thought and be like, oh my God, he didn't text me. He didn't call me. It must mean he doesn't like me. You forget so quick that everyone is you pushed out. The only way you can stick to that faith and that belief that everyone is you pushed out is with your dominant thoughts. Your dominant thoughts have to be, I have manifested so much. I have proven to myself so much. Everyone is me pushed out. Why am I forgetting? Why? Because it's easier for me to doubt than it is to believe with blind faith, right?
Right. So you bring up an interesting point. The one thing that, you know what, I'll always stress over and over and over again is that little list of manifestations, because that little list of manifestations are so incredibly important, that have zero resistance. You know, I keep doing those because those are the ones that are going to bring you back to reminding yourself, like, wow, this really works. So what you want to do is you want to write them down, and every day be happy and grateful and thankful, you know, and remind yourself of those things, because that's going to get you back into, okay, this totally works. Like, you guys have heard me say millions of times that, you know, Andrea bringing that fried chicken one day was helped me got over my money block, because it was something, it wasn't even a big deal. But the fact that my thought went back in time and had him bring that chicken was just absolutely like, wow, this is just unbelievable. It works. So you want to keep testing it and proving it to yourself in other areas other than the big area that you're working on. Okay, you still want to work on that area, but you want to work on it on other areas to get that, you know, you have that proof, right? You know, the more proof you have, the less of a ping pong match it's going to be in your head. Like, this is me. Okay. Oh, you know what? Oh, if they're going to call me. No, of course they're going to call me. Everyone's you pushed out. Amanda, you know this works. You created that. Okay, done. They're going to call me. Like, that's the end of my fight in my head with myself. Like, and that's on a bad day. Like, a good day, that doesn't even happen anymore because you've got so much proof for it. So, right.
Yeah, and it's so easy to fall back. Like, I know a lot of people watching, maybe you're new at this, or maybe you've been doing it and you're like, okay, well, yeah, I do it. I see some movement, I see some action, but do I have to do this all the time, every day? Yes, until you do, until your dominant thoughts become thoughts that serve you, because this is the discipline that's going to get you there. And whatever you do, whatever you want to achieve, there has to be some type of discipline involved. You can't just snap your fingers and get there. Why? Because especially when it has to do with the SP, you have a lot of limiting beliefs, blocks, and doubts.
Exactly. You know what? Exactly. And it's about getting through them. And if you are starting to see, you know, a plateau or no movement, then you want to refocus on what you're creating. You want to change up your intentions. You know, intentions aren't just like, this is my one set of intentions from now until my 50th wedding anniversary. No, because as you do an intention over and over again, you end up manifesting it, and then it becomes one of your dominant subconscious thoughts that are now in play. Once that happens, you can get a new intention to replace it. And you always want to change up your intentions, because it's going to keep, it's going to keep creating and creating more things. And that's what it is you see, okay, that happened. Okay, that hasn't happened. Okay, I'm going to have that one now. And as you create intentions and you create things that you want, what ends up happening is you see other areas that you maybe blocked it, and then you adjust your trajectory, you handle those thoughts. So it's like taking layers off of an onion. So it's it's an ongoing thing. Okay, so I normally change up my intentions. I would say once a week, maybe 5 days, sometimes once every 2 weeks, depending on how much I say it. But the more you say an intention, the quicker it's going to change in your reality, right? So some things you may be saying for a month, but not very often. So they may take longer, right? Depending on your belief as well,
You'll be surprised if you are conscious of your thoughts and you're catching your thoughts. You would be surprised of the dominant thoughts you have that you never even knew.
Exactly. And if you don't know what thoughts you're having because you can't hear them, then look at your reality. Because I'll be honest, everybody's reality is a direct reflection of your thoughts. Now, these are your subconscious beliefs that you may have created years ago. They may be ones that you've sort of created that you totally forgot about. But that's how our brains work, okay? Is you wake up every day, your computer's there, your bed's there, the floor's there, the bathroom's there, your mom's there, the coffee pot's there. That's because you've created those, you've manifested them, you've put them there. So every morning, your subconscious mind recreates your reality, your holodeck, okay? It remembers and stores all these things. Now, it's just like your coffee pot. If you want to get rid of your coffee pot, you got to take it and get rid of it and then get a new one. Well, that's the same thing with people and their actions in your reality. You have to acknowledge, oh, I don't like what he's doing. And then you renounce it. No, I intend this instead. And you've got to keep doing that until it actually makes a shift. So it's easier to get a new coffee pot because it takes some physical action, but this just takes mental action. It's just taking a look at what the characters in your play are doing and saying, do I like that? Great, keep it. Then be happy and grateful for it. If you don't like it, then just say, oh, acknowledge it and then change it, like forever. And I'm going to say this in I know I'm going to create it again, but that's fine. Okay, so I used to have this story that people can't drive when it's sunny out. Guess what? Forever. When it's sunny out, I'm yelling. Blinking is, signaling isn't optional. Like, blah, blah, like I'm serious, like total road rage on sunny days. Because 20 years ago, I created people can't drive when it's sunny out. And so now that keeps showing up on sunny days. And it will until I recognize it and say, no, I intend that people drive better on sunny days than every other day. No, I intend that people drive safely. So that's how our brains do us a favor. Like, it's great when things are working out for us, that our brain remembers all of our good stories that support what we want. But it's also, that's where the resistance comes in when the story isn't what we want. And that's why it takes work, is because your brain's like, I was doing you a favor. You've already pre-programmed this. Like, yeah. Oh, you don't like it. No, I don't care. Your wish is my command. I don't judge.
You're being viewed by this force that does give you what you desire all the time. You're being viewed as God because you are God. So there's nothing God can do wrong. Even God's thoughts can never be wrong. So that's why you get your negative thoughts manifested too, because the whole force in the universe that's going to give you what you want or orchestrate what you want is seeing you as, oh, well, she must know she's God. She must know she's going to get this thought. So, you know what I mean? She must be putting it out intentionally because she's going to get it. She knows better. She's God. She's all powerful.
Right. Exactly. And we don't just get our desires. We get everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't discriminate, right? One point that you mentioned was taking action, which I wanted to talk a little bit about. Taking action, I would never say, take action and find out, have the relationship talk. The only time I would ever suggest that is if you wanted to know what your blocks were, like if you didn't know, because they'll tell you what the problem is, right? When, they'll tell you, oh, I got baggage, I'm not ready, or, blah, 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 I don't trust you, whatever the case is. And then that's your major block. But, as far as taking action goes, if you do take action, take it from just the stance of everything's okay from the end, not from the stance of rejection or looking for evidence or, you know, anything like that, because you'd just be setting yourself up for failure again. Me, I'll walk into the same wall 100 times to take action until I get it right, no problem. And I'll just keep changing the story. I have no problem with that, because I don't ever once take it as rejection. I take it as, wow, that's what I created. Okay, let's see now what I've done. Oh, let's see now what's shown up. And knowing that I'm going to do that as many times as it takes. But if that's not the standpoint that you're coming from, and you're coming from, well, I've done intentions for a week, so I want to see what's going to show up there, then, oh, why isn't it working? Oh my goodness, and oh, rejection. If you're going to go down that route, then I would just sit back and create intentions until you've shifted it enough to have them come to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Remember, your thoughts create, guys. Your assumptions create. So if you're there texting, like, okay, I'm going to initiate, but I'm the one always initiating. He must think I'm so desperate and needy. Guess what? That's what he's going to think, because that's the thought you're sending out. Don't use that precious focus and precious assumption to think about something that will not serve you. Watch your thoughts. Be on top of your mental diet. Make everything serve you.
Yeah, exactly. And the biggest thing here is do a mantra. And every time you message them coming from the end that they initiate is, wow, isn't it great that they always text me first? Well, today I'm going to text them first. And, you know, and always create that they text you first every time you think about it, you know, that come from that end of there's nothing wrong. And you'll find that once you lose the story that you're not good enough, or they don't like you, that's why, you know, the rejection story behind the initiating, then you'll find that they're just going to start doing it.
Yeah.
You know, huge thing. Well, thank you so much for being here today, honey. We've covered so many topics. Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you for
guys. Absolutely. Oh, you're so welcome. Always a pleasure. And guys, of course, Ani is a coach here at Create Your Future. Check out the link in the description below. And guys, thank you so much for liking,